Here from 47G's Zero Gravity Summit in Salt Lake City, Utah, I'm with Ben Hart, Executive Director of the Utah Inland Port Authority. Thank you for joining us. And thank you for having us, really. So, as I mentioned to you, we're from New York and New Jersey, where I have an idea of what a port authority does. This is a new concept to me. Just explain your role, the organization, and what you guys do.
Well, look, any port exists primarily to move freight from mode to mode. On the East Coast, we look at sea cargo, air coming into rail. Ultimately, that port exists to transition the freight. We really do the same thing, except it's an inland concept. Utah has been hugely dependent on trucks, and so we have the highest percentage of trucks on our road compared to any other state in the country. And we also send a lot of our air cargo, for example, to other places because we don't have really good infrastructure here in the state of Utah. So much like those other ports, our goal is how do we create a better, more efficient cargo transportation and transition network. And so that's what we've been working on. We've been funding, and we've been working with a lot of really great players here in the state of Utah to accomplish
So
that.
what does that look like across the map? What kind of places are you, and whether it's the Port Authority that's investing, or what does that look like as we get out into the different parts of the state?
Well, this is what makes the Utah Inland Port so unique. We can kind of play a role in between a lot of other modes of transportation. So just yesterday we announced an $18 million deal with Delta. They're building a new cargo facility at the Salt Lake City International Airport. We also welcomed BNSF into the market about 3 months ago with secondary intermodal access. So it really allows us to work in ways that help to elevate the entire state's port, quote unquote, network. We also worked in southern Utah creating new loading facilities for rail there. And then on the other side of the house, we actually have an economic mission as well. So we're able to use tax increment to attract big businesses like Northrop Grumman, Lakeshore Learning here to the state of Utah as well.
So when we think about logistics, that could be agnostic to really any industry, but what are the industries and sectors that you're primarily targeting, looking to attract?
Well, look, we are huge on aerospace and defense, which is why we're a supporter of 47G. We're also big on biotechnology, advanced manufacturing. As we get into other parts of the state, we are a little bit more liberal, and we really have targeted things like distribution centers, particularly in rural communities where they need jobs. And so it's been what that economy needs. That's really who we focus on and are able to target.
And when we look at the landscape of what makes Utah competitive and the advantages for why companies should come here, obviously what you're talking about and facilitating the logistics and the movement of goods, that feels like a big part of it. But what do you see when you take a step back at the state as really the competitive advantages? Why should a company come here?
Well, look, this is what makes Utah unique. We really are the best state for business, not just from a regulatory framework, also investing in our state. We're taking care of ourselves and making sure that we're investing for the future and future generations. But we're also tops when it comes to workforce. We have a workforce and an education system like nothing else in the country, which is why we always rank very high. We have a lot of kids. We're one of the very few states that ultimately does. The road network and other transportation aspects of the state, again, we always rank top 5. So when you look at Utah in comparison to the rest of the country, we always punch above our weight in the sense that we're investing in ourselves. We've got a great base to build from already here economically, but looking towards the future, we are always making investments, and I think that's where the port has been critical.
And when we look around the country, is the idea of the Inland Port Authority a novel concept, or are there peers that you look at different logistics networks from other states that you feel like you need to aspire to, or is there no competition? How do you view the competitive landscape?
No, we're really pretty unique in this regard. We don't see any other true inland ports. We see inland port concepts in places like South Carolina, Georgia, but inland states, no, we're very unique. We don't see another organization like ours that exists that can really bridge the gap between what we want economically and what we want transportation and freight movement wise. We're really able to sit on the boundary of those two important disciplines and make sure the state can optimize its future. It's very unique and it's working. I think you're going to see more and more states go towards this type of model.
And as we look to the future, I mean, a lot of what we're experiencing here, whether it's talking about space or drones, things are changing and the movement of goods is changing. As you look ahead for the Inland Port Authority, what are some of the big trends that, if we're having this conversation in just a few years, what do you think will be changing or evolving?
Well, Utah's got a bright future. We've got the Olympics coming to town. Yeah. We've got, I think, a better economic outlook. We're more diversified in our industries. We've got so much to look forward to. But, in terms of what really we see on the horizon, I mean, we see air delivery. Obviously, that's a vertical that I think a lot of states are involved in. We've been leaning into that, especially as we look towards the Olympics with things like air taxis and that type of infrastructure that we've been working on. I think we'll be embracing AI at a much higher level than what most states will. I think there's a definite digital comfort level in the state of Utah, which is why I think you've seen a lot of tech companies that have invested in the state. You really get the ability to have a better affordability than what you see on the coast as well. So with all of those things, I think when we look 3, 4, 5, 6 years out, you're still going to see Utah as an economic leader. I think we'll be much bigger than where we are. I think we'll see more investment, we'll see more capital, but the world will again discover, and we're going to see more and more big brand names coming to Utah as they understand the value proposition for the state.
Well, we'll look forward to staying in touch as all this takes place.
Absolutely.
Ben Hart, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.